Did indeed. Remember, this is a team that was under 500 over the last 2 years without Livers coming into this game. Needed other guys to step up. We saw Jackson in the highlight. Brandon Johns tied his season high as well. A lot of guys contributing, and this is what they're going to need, Jess.
Yeah, 4 players in double figures. Everyone stepped up when it mattered the most, and I agree, Dave. Brandon Johns is the one player who seems to gain confidence every single time he stepped out over the last couple games. He had 11 in this one. He's been to the free throw line 16 times over the last 2 games. That is a good sign going forward. Isaiah Livers is a huge loss, but if they're going to continue to advance, everyone has to step up, and the freshmen were big as well.
Did a nice job on the defensive end as well. Held Texas Southern to 36% from the field, just 1 of 12 behind the arc. And so they move on to take on LSU, was a winner over St. Bonaventure. LSU obviously out of the SEC, really loaded team athletically. Haven't always achieved akin to their talent this year, but what do you think?
Well, speaking of talent, they have a freshman by the name of Cam Thomas, who is a pro. And he reminds me a lot of Marcus Carr at Minnesota. When he gets into those zones, he's very difficult to stop. He's on the attack. They set a ton of ball screens. This has to be one of Hunter Dickinson's best games. He's got to protect the rim, rebound against those athletes, and be the quarterback in those ball screen situations to let his teammates know where Cam is at all times, because he's not passing the ball, Dave. Let's just say that. But this team's been hot.
He had 27 against the Bonnies. They had 18 second chance points, too. So, as you said, rebounding going to be at a premium, but Michigan rebounds very well on the defensive end. So, 4th straight NCAA tourney appearance in which Iowa has won its first game, 1.46 points per possession. That is absurd offensively.
Well, it's just unfair when both Luka Garza and J-Bo are reining in threes. There's no answer for that as a defense. And Garza hits 4 out of 5, and you just feel bad for the opposing center that he has to chase Luka around the perimeter, and then Luka takes him inside and beats him up. So that was really the story of this game. And what about the bench scoring? 26 points off the bench, led by a future star at Iowa, Keegan Murray.
Keegan Murray, phenomenal in this one, really on both ends of the court. Came up with some nice work defensively as well. 9 wins in 11 games overall. Now for Iowa, they move on to take Oregon, which won in a no contest over VCU. COVID issues for the Rams, and so they were unable to play. And so now you spin this one forward. Oregon, interesting team. They're going to want to slow it down. Dana Altman, of course, noted head coach for the Ducks, team with a lot of guys similar size, 6'5", 6'6". What are you looking for here in this matchup?
Well, they do have that smaller lineup for Luka Garza just to dominate on the post. But I played against Dana Altman when he was at Creighton and studied him a lot when I was a coach. And he's very crafty at creating 3-point shots for his guys. 33% of their scoring comes from beyond the arc. They hit 15 threes against Oregon State just a couple games ago. So a real test for Iowa's perimeter defense. But a game Iowa should win. Better talent and 3-point shooting for the Hawkeyes.
But again, Oregon won the Pac-12 in the regular season. In the way the Pac-12 is played in this NCAA tournament, you understand that is no small feat. Maybe a league that's better than people gave it credit for. 11 wins in their last 13 games. Mark mentioned the defense, and that was the story for Maryland. And it has been the story here down the stretch, but gave up just 54 points, the fewest they have allowed in an NCAA tournament game since they won the 0-2 title against Indiana. D is the story here, Jeff.
No question. I mean, UConn has an outstanding team. I mean, most people had Maryland going down in this game, but Mark Turgeon's defense was spectacular. Their switches were very intelligent. They were feisty. They were gritty, and they got the job done. Bouknight is a pro. They held him under check, 6 for 16 from the floor. I don't think we can brag too much about the defensive rebounding. They gave up 22 offensive boards, so he might point that out during the film session, but they drilled 9 threes. The defense was outstanding, and this is a huge win for the Maryland program.
22 offensive boards, but just 11 second chance points.
That's
now,
right.
A lot of that
didn't
was,
kill him.
Frankly, UConn couldn't make anything down low, and we talked about that on Friday night, that this is what UConn does. They go hard after the offensive glass. Rebounding is not a huge area of strength for Maryland, but again, the Terps figure out a way to get the win. Again, defense, the story for them. 7th opponent in the last 10 games that they have held under 40%. And so now they do move on. They will take on the 2-seed Alabama, which held off Iona. It was actually a tight game for much of the second half before the Tide pulled away. And look at the top of this bottom half of the East here. UCLA and Abilene Christian, which beat Texas. How about 4 teams seeded 13 or worse onto the round of 32? First time that has ever happened.